Julia Gillard is reportedly at odds with her immigration minister over whether to reopen the Nauru detention centre. The issue is further fuelling leadership rumours.
Lizzie Williams, 10 News.
Rallies have been held across the country protesting against corporate greed and claiming a failure of democracy. Inspired by a mass occupation of Wall Street, hundreds in Australia joined the now global campaign. Well, Australia's Wallabies are carrying the hopes of a nation when they meet the All Blacks in tomorrow's Rugby World Cup semi-final. Our reporter Jonathan Williams joins us now with all the details from Auckland. Now, Jono, all of our fingers are crossed for a Wallabies win, but there was a major blow for the Aussie team today.
Yes, that's right, Tash. Fullback Kurtley Beale has been ruled out. His injured hamstring just couldn't mend in time ahead of tomorrow's game. And as you said, it's a huge blow. He provides so much in attack and he will be lost. But now looking forward tonight, of course, is the start of the semi-finals. Wales versus France. It's a battle of the Northern Hemisphere. And, of course, thousands of fans, not just here at Eden Park, but also throughout the city, have really set this World Cup alight. As you know, and they're out and about as the business end starts.
Are you worried you might have to return that if they lose?
No, we'll be right. We'll win. It'll be sweet.
I'm a confirmed atheist, but if we can beat the All Blacks tonight, I think there is a God and he is an Australian.
So it all begins tonight. Either Wales or France will be the first through to the World Cup final. And Tash, I'll be back with all the latest in sport.
Jonathan Williams reporting live there from the Rugby World Cup. Well, it's the first big day of the Melbourne Spring Racing Carnival with highlights on and off the track. About 40,000 people turned out for the running of the $2.5 million feature race.
And Rob Canning will be back with the rest of the day's sport a little later in the bulletin. But still to come tonight, police seek public help over a man buried in a chicken shed.
Also, students left without a classroom as arsonists hit a school.
And the growing gap between the haves and have-nots.
Police are on the hunt for more suspects over the death of a man whose body was found buried in a chicken shed. One person has been charged, but investigators are now keen for further information.
An entire prep year has been left without classrooms after fire ripped through a Brisbane school. It's thought to be the work of a young arsonist.
Wildfire 10 News.
Well, it seems the country's rich are getting richer as Australia's middle class disappears. New figures show there's a broadening divide between the haves and have-nots.
Lachlan Kennedy, 10 News.
Joining us now for an update on all the weather details is 10's meteorologist Magdelina Rose. Now, Magdelina, we have some serious issues with some storms lashing New South Wales, but especially Queensland.
That's exactly right, Tash. The most dangerous and violent thunderstorms of the season are now hitting parts of southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. Severe thunderstorm warnings are in place for destructive winds as well as large hailstones and flash flooding. We've already had gusts of 79 kilometres an hour reported in Warwick, and there have already been reports of hail. Now, these thunderstorms are expected to hit the Brisbane CBD in about 1 hour and Ipswich in the next half hour, so make sure you take care. Let's have a look at how the capital city shaped up, though. And for Brisbane today, after around 14 millimetres overnight, it was actually dry. We saw a high of 27 degrees. But as I mentioned, in the next 1 hour, you are going to see some extremely dangerous conditions with these thunderstorms. Please park your car under cover if you can. Further south for Sydney-siders, it was a humid 25-degree day today, and we're looking at sunny skies for at least another week. For Canberra today, it was actually quite warm, the warmest day so far this month, reaching a high of 24. In Melbourne today, the warmest start in around 6 weeks with 16 degrees, reaching a high of 24 before a southwesterly change came through. And for Adelaide today, it was also dry but very windy with gusts reaching over 50 k's an hour, the city reaching a high of 20. Elsewhere around the country, it was a beautiful day in Perth, reaching a high of 27 degrees with lovely conditions once again up north. But I must stress, severe thunderstorms are lashing northeast New South Wales and southeast Queensland. Matt and Tash, I'll have all the details in the next update.
Some very savage weather indeed. Thanks, Magdelina. Still to come in 10 News, the surprise new occupants of a Melbourne hospital.
All Also, another delay in the bid to salvage a ship, causing an environmental crisis.
I'm Daniela Retorto in London, where final preparations are underway for the Queen's visit to Australia. So what does it take to plan such a big royal tour? We'll find out next.
On 10.
Salvage crews have delayed plans to pump 1,300 tonnes of oil from a ship stranded on a New Zealand reef. Salvagers had hoped to begin removing the fuel from Rena this afternoon, but divers inspected the vessel and believe it's too unstable to start pumping. Workers have attached 4 platforms to the side of the ship, giving them a level surface to work on once the dangerous operation begins.
Well, plenty of planning by Buckingham Palace goes into an overseas tour by the Queen, and Her Majesty will be travelling with a substantial entourage when she arrives in Australia next week for what is likely to be her farewell tour.
When the Queen and Prince Philip touched down in Canberra on Wednesday,
The Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne has welcomed quite an entertaining group of furry new friends. 9 meerkats have moved into an enclosure in the specialist clinic's area, and it's hoped the antics of the new residents will bring a smile to the many young patients.
This is just a magnificent way to make things fun and at least take away or help take away the anxiety.
They'll be cared for by Melbourne Zoo staff. Well, still to come tonight, a quick look at the day's top headlines.
And later we speak with 2 new Australians to ask why they risked everything to come here.